everybody. Welcome to mine and Lily's podcast. This is the first episode of a podcast called Can Talks. This podcast is all about Moulin Rouge and our love for Moulin Rouge. And we are your hosts. My name is Juliet. I also run the fan account at Come What May Meeps.
And my name is Lily, and I run the fan account Voulez-Vous Moulin Rouge.
I am currently located in all the way down in sunny Florida. Well, it's not very sunny right now. It's actually really cold.
How
Um,
cold is that, though?
it was like 34 degrees this morning. So I would say it's kind of cold.
Yeah, it was about that temperature, but it felt like 24. So
Oh, I hate that. It's the worst when it's like an actual temperature, but it's like it feels colder than it is. I'm like, I don't like that.
I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, by the way. Go Joe Burrow, go Bengals, go Reds.
So starting off, so how many times, Lily, have you seen the show?
I have seen the show 5 times, and I will be going for my 6th time in February with the wonderful Jules.
I've actually seen the show 12 times, all in the span of a year, and I will be going back for more next month with Lily.
Yeah.
We are reuniting in NYC. This time we actually know that we're reuniting in NYC.
Exactly.
Real funny story. Me and Lily met in we didn't meet
Yeah, we
actually.
didn't really meet,
We were both standing at stage door like a few feet apart from
but we
on like
didn't know who we were at the time.
July 30th or something. Or 29th. I can't remember what day it was. It was like right before the day before Jojo and Derek left.
Yeah.
And yeah, we didn't even know each other or anything. I think like we followed each other on Twitter, but like that was the most interaction we had was just like seeing each other's tweets.
Yeah. We
And
had not
then
like DM'd each other or
yeah,
anything.
we hadn't talked or anything. And so we were in proximity to each other, didn't even realize. And then like she posted something about like being in the city, and I was like, oh my goodness, like I was in the city that weekend. She's like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I went to the show and I staged door. I was like, oh my goodness, I was at a stage door. And we then both came to the realization that we were both in the city at the same time, saw the same show, and we're at the stage door. And from them, beautiful relationship blossomed.
Exactly.
It's been a great, wild 6 months.
It has been. So,
Um,
Jules, when did you
yeah.
become a fan of the show?
So I've always been a fan of the movie. So it wasn't anything new to me because the movie I like kind of grown up watching it. It actually took me a little bit. So I knew it was happening on Broadway, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. Um, 2019 was a really busy year for me, but it wasn't until actually like Broadway reopened is when I really started looking more into Moulin Rouge and watching the clips, and I was like starting to see their TikToks and everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I love this movie. This musical must be good. And when it was announced that Aaron Tveit was coming back, like he did last year, I was like, you know what? I've never seen a Broadway show. I haven't been in New York in ages. I was like, why not make this my first Broadway show? And I did, and the rest is history. It's been a long year since. What about you, Lily?
I fell in love with the show in 2019. Um, OG Broadway fan, I should say, because I saw the movie prior to going in 2019, seeing the original cast. Um, but the movie never really stuck with me because I think I was just my age. I was just so young when it came out. Apparently, my mom took me to the movie, but because I was a baby, um, it was the only time when I was a baby where I like acted out. Like normally I would just kind of sleep in my mom's lap or something and like my mom would be fine. This time I was like being a disruptive kid. So I I watched the movie, got it on DVD in like 2018, like late 2018, I would say. maybe early 2019. It was during my J term at school, which is winter break. And I liked it, but I was like, can't really relate to many of the songs except for like Virgin, which they should have put they should have put in the musical. But I saw the show in 2019. It was August and fell in love with that. And it was also like Aaron Tveit and Karen Olivo, who's now known as KO, Robin Herder, Ricky Rojas, Tam, you know, all the lovely OG cast. And then I took a little bit of a break because of COVID, and then 2023, my friend and I decided to go to New York to stage door SNL, but then the writer's strike happened that week, and I was like, hey, what do you want to do? My friend goes, let's go see Moulin Rouge. And so we got cheap mezzanine tickets, and then I fell in love with the show again, and the rest is history.
That's like such a big gap. Like that's like 4 years.
It is
Like
four
you waited.
years.
That's insane 'cause so much changed in 4 years. Like so much casting also changed in four
Derek
years.
Klena.
Derek Klena was there. I love that. I wish I had saw the original Broadway cast. I love the recording. So
Yeah, I miss like the Ashley Loren and Natalie Mezendo. Like, I don't know how to say her last name.
Mendoza.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I miss that whole era.
Yeah, I mean
I'm
that
sad.
was
I miss
that
the
was
Ashley Lauren era because I love her.
actually Loren era was one of the best eras. I was like I came in and I started watching it as her era was coming to an end, so it was really bittersweet. Um yeah, so what's next for us? I mean, we're going next month.
Yeah.
We'll be back in the city.
And we're back in the
Um,
city knowing each other this
knowing
time.
each other this time. Thank goodness. Knowing each other. So we'll be at the Rouge
The
together.
amount of times Jules and then our friends Julia and Liz have been texting me, asking me when I'm going to New York next.
It's just, yeah, I keep telling her that she needs to come because I have been so many times this year and I'm like, I think you should come with me this trip. I think you should come this trip. And finally, we were like, February, we're all gonna do it, and we're all gonna
Yeah.
go into the city, and we're just gonna, oh, we're gonna crack out a bunch of shows.
Well, you are. I'm seeing two, but you're seeing four.
Okay, I'm seeing Sweeney. Okay, I caved and I bought my ticket for Sweeney.
I mean, understandable.
Understandable. I think we're seeing Rouge like twice, maybe though. So,
Also
but who knows?
understandable.
It could be more than that. There's been nights. It's been like a back to back, so you never know sometimes what's gonna happen. You're just in the city and you're just like, "Do you know what? Let's just go see it."
I was
Um,
once considering like before, because like, well, so we're going in the city. Well, I'm going in the city because Darren Chris is in Little Shop, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going. Um, but I was considering not going to the Rouge. I was like, can I make one New York trip and not see the Rouge? And that, like, in 1 week was just like, I can't do it. I have to see the Rouge.
it's like impossible. It's impossible to do. That red windmill just wheels you back in.
It
I
really
I thought
does.
that before. It's like, can I do like this weekend with no Rouge trip and or just one Rouge trip, And I always end up doing it like twice. Every trip I go to, I end up doing it 2 times or 3 times. Um, and I'm like, wow, um, so much for staying away.
Exactly.
I'm
Even
like,
then, you'll find me at the stage door.
I just want to venture out and see new shows.
And
You
then
know,
Rouge always pulls you
and
back
Rouge is
in.
just like, come on, come on. I'm like,
Uh,
fine. I do see new shows. I saw
yeah,
25 Broadway shows last year,
that's
12 of those
pretty good.
being Rouge. But the other, like, what is that? The other 13 were different
That's
shows.
yeah, that's not that's almost half, but not half.
Yeah, so that's like, I feel like that's a
So,
good number of shows to
yeah,
see. And every show I did see was great. It was fantastic. So I just want to move on to this whole overview of this podcast. This whole podcast is just like it's fun. This is all like for fun, and it's something that me and Lily love. That's why we're doing this, and it's talking about experiences we had and fun things, and basically anything to talk about with Rouge. That's what we're gonna do. Um, Talking to people and seeing how it goes. So for it being our first episode, I thought it'd be really fun if we talk about our favorites.
Just
I
get
have
to know each other,
get to know each other and our
but Rouge
likes,
style.
but Rouge style. I mean, we know each other, but like Rouge style. So our favorites, I have a few categories, and my first one, I think we should go like back and forth with them.
Yeah.
But my first one is, what is your favorite song in the show?
Okay. It changes based on my mood. Um, if I'm feeling like a little emo, I'll go with Roxanne. If I'm feeling a little bit more lighthearted, I'll go like opening number. But the one song that is like really stuck in my head, and I think it's also just the scene. I saw the show before the cast album came out, but just the scene in general in the song together, it's Chandelier. Um, just the way that it is like a fantasy scene, like what you would see in a movie, but it's just put on stage. The lighting, the set design, I just really like the vibe of it. Because it's like a green, like it's a fantasy scene in a Broadway show, on a stage show, and it's just I love it. The acoustics as well in the beginning.
I have to agree. I'm also like, oh, it depends on my mood, but Chandelier is just always that song. It's just so once, it's just like you said, it's like fantasy. It's you watch it and it's just you're just transported into this world and the color and the music. It's just amazing. I love that song. It's definitely up there with one of my favorites. I mean, there's so many good songs. But I think I agree. Chandelier is definitely up there as my favorite song as well. Look at that. Great minds think alike.
Yeah, it's also just a cat and mouse game that Christian and Satine play in the scene. In the way that he chases her around is, and she's as the Green Fairy. It's so good.
Also, like the Green Fairy is so iconic, isn't it? Like
The
it's just
costume
the
is
costume is so iconic as well. I mean, it's just one of those things.
okay. What is your favorite scene or line?
I love the rehearsal scenes. They always are just both of them, even the first one. I think the rehearsal scenes are always like kind of quite fun, and you see a lot of people laugh at them. I would have to say I think that's probably both of them are my favorite scenes and lines. I mean, there's so many like really fun lines, like funny, but there's also some really like impactful lines as well. Like right at the end when he says like um place to belong, people to love kind of thing. Um I'm pretty sure I said that wrong. I'm so sorry. But that one, but also blood-sucking corporate vampires is forever my favorite line. I laugh every single time I see it, and whoever wrote that into the script deserves a raise. What about you, Lily?
I really like Ziedler's lines. Those always get me, especially the one where he goes, like the Moulin Rouge is a state of mind, because it's honestly so true. Especially in going back to like my favorite songs, the opening number will also forever remain iconic to me because it's like you're not just transported back into Christian's story, but you're basically it sets the tone, it sets the scene to you, like in the very beginning. You are in the Moulin Rouge, you are the Moulin Rouge, and I just love that welcoming vibe. And then also the rehearsal scenes are hilarious. Razor, always a good chuckle to see which Ziedler kind of goes with the razor, and then also the let me see your ass line. That's always funny, and especially what happens after that because Eric has been doing Holy Riverdale for Casey Cott, and it's hilarious.
Okay, so Lily,
Yeah,
who is your favorite character? This is really hard.
this is actually very hard. Um, this is harder than I thought when I originally came up with this question. Um, I feel like it also depends on the day because sometimes I'm feeling really like villain-y and I'm like the Duke, but then sometimes I'm in my goofy silly mood, so I'm Zietler. But then sometimes I'm very level-headed, so I'm Satine, and then I feel very golden retrievers, so I'm Christian. But I think overall, okay, I might have to go with the Duke. Just because he adds a level of complexity and depending on who's like portraying him, I mean the material that he has is very funny and exaggerated. I mean, he sings Only Girl by Rihanna. Like it's so good. What about you?
Um, I have no idea. Can I like plead the fifth? Because
Oh, it's so
it's
hard.
so difficult because I love all the characters. So like choosing a favorite. I mean, I like Santiago.
He's funny.
I love Santiago. I love the Duke too. I mean, Satine is just like all the Lady L. It's so difficult, but I think I have to. Oh my goodness, I might have to just. I'm a Team Duke girl, so I feel like I have to just say the Duke, and just say that's it. That's the one I'm going for is the Duke.
I mean, yeah, it is just really hard. I think all the characters are very well-rounded. They all have such good songs. So it's a very hard decision. That was a hard question. Okay, Jules, what's your favorite costume or fit?
Oh, um, mm, oh, again, all the costumes in the show are so beautiful. Um, I think my favorite costume of all time is Satine's diamond costume when they take off the outer layer, so like the bodysuit. I think that costume is just so beautiful. All like the gems on it. I mean, she has the most amazing costumes anyway. Um, but I also have to give a nod to the Green Fairy, and I wish we saw more of the Green Fairy. You see it so briefly. I wish we had more time with it on stage because that is also a very beautiful costume. Um, I mean, also I love the can-can skirts. The can-can skirts are beautiful. The colors and all the ruffles. I think, you know, the costumes in the show are just divine. Um, what about you?
There's all the costumes are so good. All Satine's costumes are so exquisite and beautiful. And when my friend went to see the show for the first time and she was texting me, she's like, I'm in love with Satine's costumes. And I'm like, you were so right for that. Um, but to be really specific, I like two jackets. One of them is Christian's Elephant Love medley jacket at the very end. The navy blue one that has like the sparkles just like at the top. It just the detail of the sparkles at the top, it's so good. And then Zietler's windmill jacket is so it's so good. It's so good. Also the sparkly sheer shirt on the Duke. Shout out.
You know, one thing I noticed about Zidler is when I said Can-Can, his shoes have a little Z on them. And they are the
Oh yeah.
cutest things ever. I only noticed that once I sat Can-Can. I was like, oh my goodness, that's the cutest thing I've seen in my life. I just wanted to throw that little one in there.
I don't think I realized the windmill on the jacket until I saw it on tour. Um, because the Ziegler took some time to just like turn around and show off the jacket. I was like, I never realized he has a windmill on the back.
Okay. What is your favorite like hidden gem in the show? I feel like hidden gems are like really fun because when you see the show the first time, you're so focused. But once you've seen it so many times, you start to notice little things. So what is like one of your favorite like hidden gems in the show?
Well, I wrote one down for the example. One of them is the F9 or flat nine track or the painter track. In the background of the rehearsal scene number two. Hilarious, unhinged. I love it. And then when I sat Can Can, it was noticing that the ensemble members take the diamond strings out of the can lamps. And I was like, I never realized that happened.
Um, you know what? I think I have two. Okay, so the first one being during Diamonds, when she goes, talk to me, Howard Zidler, tell me all about it. He's up in the windmill with diamonds in his hands. And I don't think a lot of people notice that at first because you're watching Satine. But I noticed it like the third time I went and he's up there. I feel like that's kind of a hidden gem. And then I don't know, I've only ever noticed this with the current Christian, Casey. Um, because I sit now on the right side. That when he goes up to the bar, he's like, he'll like say little things like, and I guess you could say that's a hidden gem. And I think it's hilarious just to overhear him say it. So I think that's like my favorite hidden gem
I
in the show.
also really like the one thing that I noticed also in Can because I was sitting on the right side during I think it was rehearsal scene one. He goes up to the music coordinator, he's like conducting, right? And he's like conducting her. And I thought that was really cute. It's so good.
That was so well. I noticed that with when I sat Can Can for Derek and JoJo, and I was like I never noticed this before. Like, what do you mean? I've never noticed this. Because you're so engrossed. So it's not until after you've seen it so many times you start noticing just the little tiny things. I'm like, oh, I've never seen that before. And it's those little things that just make the show.
Mhm.
Love it.
Yeah. So, Jules, what is your favorite merch item? And this doesn't have to be one you own, it can just be in general on the merch table.
Um, well, I own so much merch. So
You do.
I do. Um, well, I love the hoodie. I think
Yep.
everybody collectively loves the hoodie. It's very soft.
The zip
So I think
up.
that's like yeah, the zip up is
Yeah,
it's
I
very
have that
soft.
one.
The tote bag too. I think the tote bag is I actually only recently got the tote bag in like November. All my friends had it, and I was like, I need to get me one of these so I can they also just recently brought out a fan, and it's cute. It is very cute. When I went in November, it was very hot inside the Auherschfeld. So that fan really came in handy. Someone had turned up the heating. I think yeah, there's so much beautiful merch. Yeah, I think those few items are up there in my favorite. I mean, the souvenir program book is also really nice. Um, yeah, I'm actually super excited to go to the West End because I heard they have a few different bits of merch. Um, that's what I've heard. So I guess I will find out and report back. What about you, Lily? What's your favorite merch items?
I mean, I do really like the jacket. I live in that jacket. If I'm not in my Joe Burrow sweatshirt, I'm usually in my Moulin Rouge jacket. Um, I also, well, the keychain, I got the leather keychain the last time I was there. That is really cute. And it has my favorite quote, the Moulin Rouge is a state of mind. So I was like, I have to get it. The one merch item that I really want, but I don't think I would use because I just don't drink a lot of alcohol at my house, um, is the shot glasses. I feel like if I was at school still, I would invest, but I'm living at home and I don't drink as much, so but I do really want those shot glasses because they look really cool. And it's like a set, so
I have a wine stopper. I got on eBay and it's a wine stopper. It says Moulin Rouge.
so
And
cute.
it's great because if anyone knows me, knows how much I love wine.
See, I would
So,
use that way more than the shot glasses.
right? So I don't know if that was like official merch item or what, but I found it on eBay. I see if I can find the link and maybe post it.
Shout out eBay.
Good old eBay. All right, this is also a really hard one. What's your favorite prop or props in the show?
Um, oh gosh, I'm like blanking now. The razor, I mean, iconic. Gives either his razor challenge. Um, Oh man. I mean, the handkerchief, gotta shout that out too. Um, just the way, like, it's so, I don't, I mean, I'm sure all the Satines know how to do it, but it's just the way that, like, she coughs and you don't see the blood, and then she reveals, and you're like, oh, there's blood there. Like, that always boggles my mind. There's so many. The can skirts, if that's a prop.
I don't think it is, but we'll give you the point for it. Uh, we'll give it to you.
It can be a costume and a prop at the same time.
I mean, yeah, I mean they do like frill it around, so it kind of is. Oh my God, props. Like I said, there's so many good ones. All the time. Um, I think the coolest ones are the absence glasses because
Oh yeah.
how they those are pretty cool because like they just I think that's fun. Though I will have to say I'm a bit biased. My favorite prop I think has to be Duke money. Um, I mean it's coming from a man with wealth of taste. It's got to be good. So I do love the Duke money. I do actually own some Duke money and
Same
I
here.
love it. So I would have to say the absence glasses, the Duke money. Um, I'm like blanking. I know I'm missing. I think the yeah, I have to give a nod to the handkerchiefs as well. And the stages and it progresses, like it
Mhm.
starts off small and then like right at the end it's like fully, so props to them for that. So props to the props department for those props.
I did forget about the absinthe glasses. I have like a set of like light up glasses, and my friend and I had fun with those. We had too much fun because there is a green option, and it's just like you press it and it comes up like a different color each time, but there is a green option, and I always try to get the green. Alrighty, what is your favorite dance move or dance number?
Oh, well, I mean, okay, dance number it has to be backstage. Backstage romance is like that number. I remember first time seeing it, my jaw was like on the floor the entire time. I was like, because it's amazing. It's like 3 or 4 minutes of just people pouring their heart out in dance, and it's amazing. And the lighting and everything with it is amazing. So that's my favorite dance number. My favorite dance move is definitely in Shut Up and Raise when they do the slam slam, and like that is my favorite one, I think. Um, but yeah, I'd have to say those two. What about you? I mean, you like to dance, so I feel like you
Yeah,
have like a
I just want to
thing.
say that Jules and I both did the dance move at the same time on Zoom. Um, oh man, yeah. I mean, for dance number, I think for me it's a tie between the opening and backstage romance. The opening is just, oh, it's so good. It's so good. The amount of kicks that they have to do. And it's also the way that, like, because I'm definitely dominant on my left leg. So my right leg does not go as high as my left when I kick. The way that they're both even on all of these ensemble members, like, could not be me. Favorite dance move? Well, the toss in Bad Romance, like the flying through the air. Um, also Christian's pose at the end of that number as well. It's just leaning back so dramatically. And then this is kind of a hidden gem from a dancer, but it's during the opening number during the Duke's entrance, where it's like when I want, and it's the boom 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 and then like dip thing. It's just on beat and it's so good. Like I can't. It's so good.
You said about the backstage romance throw. I just want to put out there that I missed the backflip, so please bring it back. The West End does it.
There's a
Australia does it.
backflip.
You didn't the West End back like the West End back. That's I'm so sorry, guys. That's not the right word. The when
Is
they
it in
do
the
the
opening?
no, it's in backstage romance.
I didn't know they did a backflip in that.
Well, yeah, because they took it away, but it's basically now they do it like it's like a jump for Christian, but they used to take Christian. They used to like flip him. Yeah. Before they throw him in
Oh,
the
yeah,
air.
I do remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So I miss that. Please bring it back. Like I said, the West End has it, the Australian production has it, the German production has it. And I'm like, bring it back to Broadway. I miss it.
I thought you meant like a
Okay.
literal backflip, and I was like, where in Backstage Romance is there a back tuck?
This is just boink. Okay, so it's kind of relates to what we talked about already, but what's your favorite? We said favorite song, but what's your favorite like mashup? Because like so many of the songs have so many songs mashed up in it. Like Elephant Love Melody has like so many songs. I think I read there's like 80 songs altogether like in the show or something like that. It's something crazy. So what is your favorite mashup of songs?
There's so many, but the one it's in the opening. It's the very last chorus of Lady Marmalade in the opening, where the guy starts singing "You spin me right round, baby, right round." It's like it. It's like how does one know that those two songs go together perfectly like that? I don't understand. It's like Lee. How does one know?
Um, and you know what's really interesting about that is this is a little nod to like who sings. I used to think that song was sung by Boy George. And it's not sung by Boy George. I just want everyone to know, but I used to think that was sung by Boy George. So I used to be like, so when I found out he was coming, I was like, oh, isn't there a song in this? And it's not him, everybody. It really isn't. It's just me having a stupid moment. That is a good one. I think. Oh, uh, you know what? In Sympathy for the Duke, they sing. It's basically Sympathy for the Devil, and it's mixed with You Can't Always Get What You Want. Pretty sure there's probably another song mixed in there, but I like that one. I mean, I like that whole song, but I like the mashup. I think Elephant Love Melody has some good like mashups too. Like um they have a lot of different like Tina Turner and everything. Can't keep up. I mean, I couldn't list all the not songs in there, so but don't quote me on that. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's see.
So, what is your favorite stage door experience or memory? And I'm also just gonna mash these two ones together because they're kind of similar. Or your favorite interaction with a cast member.
Oh, that's a good one. I've stage door quite a few times. I do love to stage door. I think stage dooring is a really, really fun time. I think it's a time for you to connect with people. Um, so it's really difficult. I think my best. I'm gonna answer the second question first. The interaction with a cast member. I was really fortunate enough to meet Ashley Loren back in July, the same night that you and me were both there. And I was able to meet her because she came to see Derek. I'd met Derek earlier that night too. But I met her, and I think that was like a really amazing interaction because I think she's a wonderful human being, and I just got to stand there and talk to her and just about life. And then I also had a really great conversation with Mesh. I had like a 10-minute conversation with her, and it was just an honest, just talking about this and just, Broadway and all that kind of stuff. I think that has to be like my favorite interactions. Stage door experiences. I think every time you go, it's always an experience. You never know what's going to happen, I think, as well. And you never know who's going to come out and what's going to happen when you see them. Um, yeah, I think it's just like, I don't think I have like one favorite like stage door experience. I think it's just every time is something fun and something different. Um, it's just nice to catch up with them because once you go so often, you just sit there and you're honest with them and you talk to them. It feels kind of nice that they recognize you and they talk to you and like, how are you? It's always a really nice feeling. And I've kind of stopped doing the whole pictures and all that now because I feel like I've seen these people so much. I just want to say hi and like, how are you? And, kind of go from there. But yeah, what about you, Lily? I feel like
She knows what's coming. She
I
knows
know
what's
the
coming.
answer to this question, so I'm just
Um,
like,
I
I'm
first want
ready.
to say you are absolutely right about the stage door. It is such a fun experience. And if you go to a Broadway show, any Broadway show, it doesn't even have to be Rouge. Definitely see if you can stage door. I just think it's so cool to meet the actors that make the show on stage, even if it's not the lead actor, even if it's not, the star of the show. It's so cool to see collectively who makes a show possible, who keeps a show running. And you have some of the most wonderful, delightful conversations from the cast members. Um, so yeah, definitely stage door. But Jules knows what's what's up. Favorite cast interaction. Um, I'll keep it brief, but one of the swings, Dylan Ball, followed me on Instagram, and I basically just like asked him if he wanted to hang out. And then when I was in the city the same weekend, Jules was in the city and we didn't know each other. My friend and I got to go out with him and another swing in the show, Olivia Cece. And we went out to a bar, got some drinks, and it was really fun just to like talk to them outside of the stage door. I talked about this like on my YouTube channel, but I just feel like there's obviously a physical barrier, but sometimes there can be a little bit of like an emotional barrier there because you feel like you don't want to like keep them too long. They have lives, they have family, significant others, pets. They just did a huge, nearly 3 hour show. They're exhausted. They want to go home. They want to eat food. They want to take a shower, rest their feet for the next day, rest their voices for the next day. Um, so it was really nice just to like be in a more casual setting that didn't feel as rushed. And we just talked about life and theater, and it was so fun. It was so fun.
I feel like this is so prominent to talk about ever since recently that TikTok video of Jordan Fisher talking about stage touring at Hadestown. And I watched the TikToks and it really made me think because I don't like to be negative, but I've had negative stage door experiences.
Yeah.
And not all of them unfortunately some of them have been at Rouge. And that's not because of the cast members, that's just because there's been people who have pushed me and shoved me and I've had bad stage door experiences at other shows too. And it's a shame because it's not nice. And I watched Jordan's TikTok and I understand where he's coming from. And like you just said, these people, sometimes they just they just want to go home and they've just done like nearly 3 hours. And some days, I love going on Saturday night. So they've just done double show. So it's definitely I always feel like stage door is something that is and it's a privilege. I always find it's a privilege for me. And all my friends around me agree. It's I tell people who've never been to a show or want a stage door and I kind of run them down. I'm like, it's a privilege. It's not a right. It's not, hey, we have to, the actors have to stage door or we have to do it. Oh, they don't have to take photos or whatever. And I think it's so when you do get those moments, I really like and just like you just said, you just want to cherish them because they're special because they're not, you know, they don't happen often or if they do happen often, it's connecting with these people on a different level and you know, they um they do so much like good stuff and they are amazing and it's really nice to see them and yeah so that's a whole thing on stage there. I think it's like a whole big conversation and I think it's a big debate that's been going on ever since like COVID as well, stage touring. So it's definitely it's like I said there's mixed reviews on it, I think. But anyway, moving forward. Okay. I love this one. What is your favorite seat slash section at the theater for you to sit in, Lily?
Are we both laughing because of the right and left of the house?
Oh my goodness. I couldn't tell the difference, but I was like, we're gonna sit this side. That's the wrong side. No, this is the left. I was calling like the opposite. And I was like, is it not this one? I mean, we were on FaceTime and we are having it's like four of us having this full-blown argument on which side was left and
She
right.
goes, it's the side the stage door is on. And we're like, that's the right side.
And I
And
was
Chelsea's
calling
like,
it
no, it's
left.
the left. It's so
It
good.
was really, I now know, but I was just calling it that. I was like, that one, right? That one.
um, okay, yeah. So for me, it depends on my budget. Um, but I normally like to sit in the orchestra. I sat in the mez once. It was cool because like cheaper seats. We were on a budget, so no problem at all. But I feel like in the mez, um, I feel like I'm missing a little bit of the action. Like, I don't know, like you can still get a little bit of the action in there. Like it's still a beautiful story, hear the music and everything. The Duke is still charming from the mez, but at the same time, it just does feel like you're not in it as much as you are in the orchestra. If I want to splurge, I would go second row because it's enough to not kind of have your nose on the front of the stage and like looking up, but it's also close enough that you can see all the action that's going on and understand the story. I do like Can as well, but I also didn't think I got as much of the story. And that's fine because I've seen the show multiple times. I know the story, I know the show inside and out at this point. So I didn't mind that. But yeah, and I think also I was a little bit overwhelmed by all the action going on around me that I couldn't really even focus on the story. But I would probably say second row to the right of the house so I can go to the bathroom and get out of the theater quickly.
So true. I've done second row. I've done second row like two times. I think the first time I ever went, I did second row. I was like middle second row, and I was like, oh, this is
Same here.
it was amazing. And then like the second time I went, I did the same thing. I've sat Can once, and I actually sat Can for the second to last show for Derek and JoJo. So like the energy was just like insane. Um, I've never sat mezzanine. Actually, I've never sat mezzanine. Um, and I'm not a snob. I've just never sat it. It's just never been on my cards. I've sat left and I've sat right. And honestly, right now, I think I can say my favorite place to sit is like um orchestra right, like F area, G, row G and all that. I think that's for the last ever since August, that's where I've been sitting. So I am a big I think it's just I know it's partial view. So first of all, it's a little bit cheaper. Partial view, and like you miss all you really miss is the elephant. Um, so you don't really miss a lot, and I don't know, it's just you feel like I also feel like you have a bit more like cast interactions as well. They kind of like, you feel like you're close and you feel like you're in the show. Same with Can. I just Can is sometimes a little expensive for me.
Yeah.
So I have to pick and choose because I was able to get Saturday night tickets once for like not even 200, so it was pretty good. But apart from that, they are very expensive, Can. So it's not
Rightfully
always.
so. You're
I
basically
mean,
in the show.
yeah, you're basically in the show. Unfortunately though, can be a little bit like, oh, I can't afford it. Can is fun though. So if you haven't done Can, do it. It's an experience. It's definitely, like I said, you really feel like you are in the show. Um, it is a bit small. It's a bit tight squeeze,
A little
but
bit of
it
an
is
uncomfortable seat, but
a little bit uncomfortable, but it's so worth it. Um, yeah, I think that's my favorite seat slash section. Section.
Uh,
Okay.
Jules, are you
Yes.
Team Christian or Team Duke?
Look. Everyone knows I'm a Duke girly, and if you see my meme account, I make so many memes about the Duke, and I always talk bad about Christian. I love Christian, I do love Christian, but it's Team Duke. I have to say Team Duke. I'm a Team Duke girl. What about you, Lily? Are you Team Duke or Team Christian?
So, um, I think morally, I'm Team Christian, but I do think that there are a lot of good arguments for Team Duke. Because, first of all, this man had no idea that Satine was having an affair, a full blown affair with another guy for months.
We could make a whole episode on the arguments for Team
We
Duke
could,
and Team
and we
Christian.
might.
We might do this. This might become an episode topic.
Because, rightfully so, like, Satina's basically cheating. She's basically agreeing to cheating. And so is Christian. He came up with the idea. And the Duke has no idea. So, rightfully so, if somebody cheated on me, I would be angry as heck. I wouldn't be as violent as the Duke, but I would be mad.
Yeah, there's like so many. I feel like people are gonna come after us for saying that. But you know, it's like pros and cons to every character, and I think the Duke is one of them that has like so many pros and cons. You know, because I'm like, okay, he's upset because of this, but then also I'm like, okay, maybe that's just not the best way you should have gone around it. And then like, there's just I think there's definitely yeah, I think it's a debating topic. I see people debate it on the good old Instagram. And I would just say just because we're Team Duke doesn't mean we're bad people. Okay.
Yeah. I also want to say that, like, Christian definitely has the better morals. He has the better level head. I mean, maybe not in, Roxanne or whatever, but he definitely does, like, in the end, have the better views, I guess, because it's like the Duke is violent. He's very violent, and you don't want Satine to, or you don't want to put anybody's lives at risk. Um, so that's where I'm just like, that's where I draw the line. But I mean, the Duke has every right to be mad, just
I
not in
mean,
the way that he's mad.
to come to the defense of Dookie, it was only allegedly killed a man. It wasn't like there's no like evidence on it. It's all alleged. God forbid, aristocrat, aristocrat.
Cat.
I'm
You should make that
so
a
sorry.
meme.
I should. Um, I can't even remember the name. God forbid people like the Duke have hobbies, okay? That's what I'm just gonna say. Um, but yes, we love them both, but a little bit more on the Team Duke side, okay? Sorry, Christian.
Okay. And then, what do you like, the movie or the Broadway musical better?
Oh
Also
my
a
God.
big debating topic.
This is such a huge debating topic. Again, we could make a whole episode comparing both of them. That's it's really difficult because there's some things in the movie that like I wish were in the musical, and there's
One
like
day I'll
vice
fly
versa.
away. One day I'll
One day
fly
I'll fly
away.
out. That one deserves so much better. And there's like some things that are in the musical that I'm like, I love this. I will say I'm unapologetically myself, and your song is better in the movie than it is a musical. I'm so sorry. I know so many Christian stans are gonna come after me. It's a beautiful song, but I just prefer the movie one. Um, but there's like pros and cons to each. I love the show that must go on in the movie. That's kind of sad that I didn't come to the musical, but there's also bits in the movie that I'm like, and I actually prefer the pitch song in the musical than the movie. So again, I think it's like a whole debating subject. I think I think I'm 50-50. I love the movie. It's a comfort movie. I also love the musical. So I don't think I have like, I think it's like a 50-50 for each. Then pros and cons, but neutral. I'm neutral. I know people who like hate the music. And I'm like, oh my goodness. But yeah, so I'm like solid ground, 50-50.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the musical. I don't hate the movie. I have nothing against it. I just feel like I was a little too young. And so I didn't really get a lot of the culture references in it, except for the Madonna one, which I mean, I wish the Duke had like a virgin still in there. I think it would have been so funny. Maybe only girl is the like a virgin, but um I will say that keeping it brief, but I do want to say that like there's things that the movie does that does it better just because it is a movie. You can do so much more with editing, with camera work, with the way it's filmed, the way it's directed. On stage, you really only have a stage and maybe some lighting and set, but you don't have like the cinematography that the movie has. And like going back to your song, it's very much more of like the love is encapsulated a little bit more because they have more of a cinematography experience. The camera moves a little bit more in it. So it's a little bit more on the romantic side. And then with the pitch, I think it's funnier to see the actors on stage try to make up this show on the spot. Like it's so much funnier because all the chaos is happening at the same time, whereas the camera can focus on like one thing or another thing, and then you kind of on stage see it all happen at once. So yeah, it's a very debated topic, and I think that there's pros and cons for both as well. So
I like that. That's so true. Okay, so this is a good one. What captivated you the first time you saw the show? Like, what was it about the show that you were like, oh my God, this is amazing?
yeah. So before I say my answer, these next two questions, I want to say that this is kind of like almost our purpose of a podcast a little bit. Like if we have guests on or anything like that, we're always going to go back to these questions because I just think that they're more like thought-provoking questions. Um, so what captivated the first time I saw the show? I mean, going back to that opening number, just being in the action. I mean, I sat second row, middle, like you. I now have learned that I like to sit on the edge because I have a small bladder and I like to pee and run for the bathroom. There's a whole story.
Everybody knows what the toilet situation is like at the Auerhofeld, and
At every
it is,
Broadway theater, really, because there's only one
it's
bathroom.
literally, that's why I go to Five Napkin Burger before, just so I can use their restroom because I'm like, it's rough.
It's
It's rough.
rough. It's
It's
really
rough at the
rough.
Auerhof. Okay.
I mean, I was at Hamilton. This is how it all started. I was at Hamilton sitting like, I think third or fourth row center, not throwing away my shot, nonstop, blackout, right? I run for the bathroom and I don't even care about the people that are like there. I just climb over them. And my parents had to like apologize to them because I just ran to the bathroom. And so I'm like, I'm avoiding that. So I'm just gonna sit on the edge. But yeah, I sat second row center the first time that I went, and just being encapsulated in just just being not encapsulated, immersed in the show, in the spectacle. Also, when you walk into the Al Hirschfeld Theater, and this is just specifically at the Al Hirschfeld Theater, they try to do their best with tour, but it's like they have the cages there, they have the elephant, the windmill, they have everything,
The
and
pre-show.
and the
What is,
pre-show as well. So
oh my
it's
God.
like you feel like you're transported to France in that era, in that time period. And I think that's what really, I mean, even my dad and my mom were just like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." And then on top of that, the incredible dancing. I mean, I mean,
It's I think I'm like the same way. I first time I went, I actually took my dad. My dad had never seen a Broadway show, but he he likes it. Like we went to see Rocky Horror Picture Show when I was like 16. So he's into musicals, but he's not like me. He's like not like, So I remember just kind of like you, that opening number, I was hooked and I was like, and you're watching, especially like even if you're not even in the second row, just anywhere, and you're hooked and it's just happening and so much is happening and it's just like, that opening number is like eight, I would say it's 8 minutes of pure bliss for me because it's amazing. So I think that like just captivated me, the set, the story. I mean, I knew the story. And it's just cute, it's a love story and love stories are always really fun. So, and it's just, I think it was that, and it was the characters, and you just fall in love with it. So I think it was just a mixture of everything. It just captivates you. And I remember leaving the theater. I was like, I have to see this show again. Like, I need. I remember the next night I saw Hamilton. That's why I put that in there because you said about Hamilton. I mean, I was wanting to see that on Broadway for a while anyway, so I was like, well, it gets me around to it, you know. But I remember leaving the Al Hirschfeld and being like, I have to see this show again. Like, I have to come back, and I would do everything to come back. And here we are, 12 going on like 13, 14 shows. So, adding on to that question, what keeps you coming back? Like, what is it that keeps you coming back to the tour or the Al Hirschfeld? I mean, I've never seen it on tour. You have. Um, so what keeps you coming back to the show?
I mean, other than the energy um of the show, I think it's the cast. It really is the cast at this point. It's like each time you're just like, oh, I can like they don't have they're saying that they're announcing a new Christian or a new Satine or something like that. And I'm just like, okay, maybe it's someone that I'm just like, okay, maybe I can take a little bit of a break. Then they announce it, and I'm like, darn it, I have to go back because I need to see this person. And I mean, I saw Derek twice, but yeah, it really is the cast at this point. And like I think it's to the point where like I would be very happy if I saw an understudy go in, like if I saw Aaron C. Finley, Christian,
He was
or
amazing, by the way.
I mean,
He was my s-
I've
he was
heard
my
the
second Christian, and he was phenomenal.
also Dylan Christian. Still need to see that. Still need to see Dylan Ziegler. That's a big one for us. But yeah,
That is a that's a big one.
I really
That's,
hope Finley can have like a principal like
I would
run.
love.
That would be amazing.
He deserves it. He
He's
really
been with the
does.
show since Boston, right? So like since the
No,
beginning.
I think he joined. I think he did join. I have to check my Boston playbill. I know Dylan's been there since Boston.
I think Finley has too.
You might be right. I have to check. Don't quote us on that.
I think it should be Finley Christian and Dylan Duke on principal.
Yeah, we should get those as principals.
They deserve it. But it's, I mean, they also, because like Finley has had to go in for Casey a lot mid show. And it's like, I wish I could do that. I wish I had that skill just to know the track so well
and just like go into
and
it
just
and
go
just
into
be
it
like,
and be okay with it.
like hop like a quarter through the show and just be like, boom, and just turn it on. Like I'm absolutely
Just at
in
any
awe
point,
of how
too.
they, yeah. And just even anyone, like not even just see Finley, like all the ensemble swings. They've happened where swings have like swung on and they just boom and they just turn it on. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like how they can just, I think kind of off topic, but I think Moulin Rouge is such a heavy ensemble swing show. And I think that the ensemble and this, I mean, I love the principals, but I think the ensemble and swings really make the show. I think I've seen it so much before in the past that ensembles and swings in all different shows, not just Moulin Rouge, I just feel like don't get enough love.
For sure.
And I think this is one of the shows that really, really highlights the ensemble because without them, I, this show just wouldn't be the show.
I mean, there would
Um,
be no can-can dancers.
yeah, and
There would be no Duke's backup man. The way that Duke has a whole backup squad too, of
that's
like
just so
dancers, I'm
Dookie.
like, that is such a Duke thing, and I
It's
love it.
such a Duke thing. Christian could never. Sorry. Whoops.
Oh,
Um,
oh my gosh.
but that's really fun. That's what keeps you coming back. I think kind of the same for me. I mean, I love all of the cast. I love all of them. But definitely like I do love when they announce like people coming for a limited run. Like, oh, that's really cool. I'm already going back, but it's gonna be also really cool to see them. Like Titus, when they announced him, I was like, oh, that's really cool. I mean, I'm gonna go, but I'm excited to see his version of this. I think it's super exciting to see different people's portrayals of different characters. You know, I've seen a lot of Christians. I'm missing one Christian, that's Dylan Paul. Apart from that, I've seen all the Christians. And I've seen each one do different stuff with it. Same with Satine, I've seen different Satines. So I think it's really exciting. But I think also what keeps me coming back is my friends pressuring me. Uh, they just are just like, you should come. And I'm like, you know what? Sure, why not? Um,
Why is that
my
me?
last, literally. So my last trip back in December, the night before I flew out, I got a text message from a close friend of mine, and she said, by any chance, do you want to go see Rouge tomorrow? And I was like, is the Pope Catholic? Of course I want to go see Rouge. So we ended up seeing it like twice in that weekend, just because of the fact that she just asked me, you know, and it's fun, spontaneous moments like that. But I think that is, yeah, what keeps you coming back is like I said, cast, seeing people, the show itself, and like I said, my friends are really bad influences. They just have to
PSA of the
text
day:
me.
if a friend asks you to go to Rouge, you go to Rouge.
You say yes.
You always say yes.
But I think these two questions, like you said, are really prominent and that we're going to use a lot when talking to other people because it's fun to like know why do people do this and what is it about the show that keeps them back, bringing them back, you know? So
Alrighty,
I
to
think,
end the podcast, I got one last question for you.
okay.
It originally says rank the shows that you've seen, but you've seen 12 of them, so we're gonna go top three.
Top three. Well, the sing along. The sing along has to be up there.
I wish I went
That
to that.
was that was one of the energy that night was just I've never been in a place where the energy was like that. So I'd have to say the sing along. When I first saw Dylan Duke, that was a really exciting one for me. That was a very exciting night for me because I had been wanting to see his Duke for a long time and it wasn't announced, like it just was on the board. So I think that was a great show for me just because it was just I was like, oh, that's really cool, you know, understudies. And then I think, oh my goodness, it's so difficult. I think my first time going, my first time seeing it with Aaron Tveit, that's definitely really memorable because it's your first time. I think your first time is always like a memorable show for you. But yeah, I would say those three in no particular order. Like I don't know if I could like rank them, but those are like the most memorable shows. I'm probably missing something. So many show. I mean, every show you go to is there's some things that happen are just so memorable. So I mean, yeah, it's just those are my top three. What about you? Your top three?
It's hard because I have five. That you have 12 to choose from. I have five. Um, okay, in no particular order. Um, I mean, as you said, the first time always has to be in that top three. And I saw the original cast, so you know, I gotta give it to the original cast, and seeing that in 2019, and Aaron Tveit, and I was also in my Gossip Girl phase with my mom, so you Gossip Girl fans know what's up, Trip Vanderbilt. um, and I would probably say July 30th. Not because of what happened after the show, but because of just the energy, it was like that bittersweet energy. I've never been to a happy trail show, so I didn't exactly know what was gonna happen. Like obviously there were flowers and stuff. But I sat second row then and it was so close and you could see just the emotion of everybody. Everybody was just you could see people like crying kind of and hugging each other, off the stage and Derek's like final kind of Christian speech at the very end, his voice is cracking and I'm like crying. Um and like being in the performing arts industry for a little bit as a dancer. Obviously not as like big as like, an extended run in a show like Derek's been with the show for a year or more. Our shows only lasted like maybe tops 2 weeks. But still like it's just you create such a family with rehearsals, with notes every day, with going in early, getting hair and makeup done, bonding with the rest of your cast. You just get so many memories and they're always gonna like live on in your mind and everything in your heart. But it's just the feeling of leaving a show and leaving people in a family that is so important to you, where it's just like you learn so much about yourself, about your life, about your journey in the performing arts. And I truly felt that. I felt like, oh, like when Mesh, who was Heel One, um, put the flower on Derek's like jacket in We Are Young, or I don't know what the actual song, Truth, Beauty, Freedom, and Love. I think is the track on the album, but like that whole scene, it was like, oh my gosh, like my mind was like, that's the last, scene on stage that they're probably gonna do in a while, if he comes back or not. But it's just I think that really it got to me, and that's why it's my top three. And then the third one I'm choosing is gonna be Tour. Seeing John Cardoza and Yvette. I mean, Yvette was the alternate at that point, but I had no idea she was in Hadestown until I started listening to Hadestown, and I was like, oh my God. Also, I didn't realize she performed with Aaron Tveit in Grease Live as Cha-Cha.
I didn't know that either. And then I like saw a clip of Chris Live. I was like, I've seen her before. And then I realized it was her. And I was like,
Yeah.
literally, it was like one of those oh my God moments. But yeah, no, Hadestown. Hadestown is another love of
Oh,
ours.
so good. It's so good.
We do love Hadestown. Hadestown is a good show. There's so many other shows, and I feel like we have to definitely get into it on another episode, like our other shows that aren't Rouge. Yes, we do watch
Other
other
shows.
shows that are not Moulin Rouge.
In the
Just to
Heights
let
is one of my
everybody know.
favorites.
That is a great show. Waiting for it to come back to Broadway.
Revival.
So many shows. We're waiting for the revival. But yeah, that's I haven't seen, I'm hoping to see Tour one day. Um,
I want to
because
see what's up with like the Christian on tour now. Is he like the understudy, or is he the alternate, or
Christian Douglas.
no, not him, the other one.
The yeah, I think he's the understudy, I
Yeah.
guess, or the alternate. And then Ariana is the standby. And I feel like I'm like, I mean, I want to see Gabby too, but I haven't seen Ariana on stage in a while, so I think it'd be really nice to see her back again.
See, that was nice seeing
Um,
Courtney on Broadway because um I didn't get to see her on tour. And Yvette was amazing. Her voice is
she's
I want her
phenomenal.
voice. Her voice is so smooth. And yeah, so it was kind of nice seeing Courtney on Broadway.
I'm like super excited though because like now that John's coming back to Broadway in The Notebook, if you didn't know, now you know. And if you didn't know, that means you're living under a rock.
John
But
Cardoza,
now that
everyone.
John Cardoza is coming back to Broadway, and it makes me so happy because he's gonna be on 45th Street, not far from the Auherschfeld, and it kind of warms my heart. Like he's gonna be so close.
Does he want to be
And
like an emergency Christian?
honestly, you know the emergency cover that Aaron Tveit did, but this time it's John Cardoza in it. Because Aaron Sweeney, he's, you know, which I'm so excited for him. I'm very excited. I think it's gonna be different for him. He doesn't really do dark things. He's always like quite that golden retriever
Assassins?
puppy. Okay, I didn't see Assassins, so I can't
Next
talk.
to normal.
Okay, next. There's rumors that it's coming back, and
I love that show.
we're gonna manifest. But like, apart from that, recently he's only really done like he's been doing Christian for so long,
And
that
Catch Me If You
golden
Can.
retriever.
That one is also a little bit. I mean, it's different, but it's still.
Spoiler, I've not seen Catch Me If You Can. I've only seen the movie, and the movie is fantastic. I haven't seen the musical, so I need to check that out. But he's been playing Christian for so long, and it's like this Labrador Retriever kind of thing. So I'm really excited to see him in a very dark role. Sweeney is such a dark role, so
I think it's probably the darkest. I mean, I don't know much about Assassins, but it might be the darkest role that he's done.
I think so. I think I have to agree with you. So I'm excited to see this different side of him. And I'm excited. I have my ticket and I am ready. Um, so I love seeing Moulin Rouge alumni, different shows. So, um, yeah, like I said, we could do a whole episode talking about other Broadway
I feel
shows
like
we
this
love,
episode's like
but
2 hours, but
this episode feels really long, so apologies. But I think we've covered everything for this episode.
yeah,
So this is the start of a new series, and we're super excited to keep bringing you more episodes and just keep going.
we're gonna have a
So
fun time.
we are gonna have a ball. Anyway, on that note, it's time to say goodbye.
Yes.
But we'll be back.
Thanks
Don't
for
worry.
listening, everyone.
Thank you for listening to us blabber.
Probably like two people, but it's fine.
That's fine.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.